I'm back! You know, I gotta be honest, when I had the idea to make this series, my idea to start was a game that was close to me and something I've loved for so many years. But here we are, talking about a game I played and completed in December of 2018, Yakuza 0. My interest first peaked in the Yakuza series when I watched a stream of Kiwami, and when it was announced that both that game and 0 were coming to Steam, I knew I had to have them. Once I finally got around to playing 0, I fell in love instantly. First thing I have to mention is that opening. I'm not even kidding when I say this, I watched this thing in full each time I booted up the game. It has that level of excitement I get when I watch a great anime opening. Now to start, this game is a prequel to the entire series, hence the 0 in the title. Taking place in 1988, it's where everything began. It's the series' main character, Kazuma Kiryu's early days as a Yakuza before receiving legendary dad status amongst the likes of Bowser and Octodad. Here, Kiryu is taking on everyone with his sworn brother, Akira Nishikiyama. And there's also Majima. I really only ever saw him as some crazy guy that pops out of sewers to challenge you to darts or whatever, but the fact that half of this game is spent focused on him and fleshes him out makes me appreciate the character a lot more. The fact that he really isn't just a fellow Yakuza with a few screws loose, but actually has his own dark past is what I really enjoyed. And hey, with this being an origin story, it's also where both Kiryu and Majima discover their three main types of fighting styles. Kiryu's default is Brawler, which is a round combination of all three styles. But along the way, he finds interest in Rush and Beast style. Rush is much quicker movement and dodging attacks with grace, albeit in exchange for hits that don't do much damage at the start, and you can't pick up objects lying on the ground. Beast is Kiryu being much slower, but less vulnerable to attacks, and he hits way harder, along with having more moves with weapons. I don't really care for Beast all that much, which is why I didn't really bother training with it. Majima is a bit different. His default style is Thug, which is a good balance between all three styles. Similar to Kiryu, he finds individuals to take inspiration from to develop his two other styles, Slugger and Breaker. As you may have guessed, Slugger involves use of a metal baseball bat, and that is your primary method of attack, which is fun as hell. Bashing people's faces in is an absolute joy. I can't believe I just said that. Breaker is Majima on a dance craze. He's much faster, a lot more stylish, and his main method of attack is kicking. So he's another Sanji from One Piece, except without the whole fire leg thing. Playing as Kiryu is fun in and of itself, but Majima's wild style made me enjoy fighting as him much more. Next thing I want to touch on is the setting. Oh my god, I love seeing Kamurocho and Sotenbori and just exploring the area. It feels very real just wandering around, and the fact that I can go into a lot of these places. Sure, you can just buy medicine to heal your injuries, but who needs that when you can literally go into a restaurant and enjoy a delicious meal? I really shouldn't enjoy this as much as I do, but having all these food locations makes me feel happy. It's a real nice feeling knowing I can just sit down and eat in this game to restore health. But it's not just food. There are so many other places to visit. A pharmacy, a supermarket chain where you can literally buy Mountain Dew, a pawn shop, bars to play darts and pool in, a bowling alley, and my two favorites, the dance club and karaoke bars. This is where the magic happens. It's beautiful, ain't it? For real, all this silly and pretty down-to-earth stuff is incredibly humorous to me, especially since you're playing as members of a Japanese crime organization. Seeing tough guys like this doing day-to-day things like bowling or trying to catch plushes in a UFO catcher and eating fucking Smile Burger immediately after beating up a crowd of dudes because you looked at them wrong makes me feel all sorts of joyous emotions. There's also the parts where our two protagonists help out various people along the way. They are sometimes some of the most awkward situations to be in, and I love them for that. And that's really saying something, considering the very serious tone of the story going on. Uh-oh, that sounds like the big ol' spoiler alarm. If you want to avoid those, then please go to this time frame in order to avoid that. Going back to the story, oh my god, it's so fantastic. The entire game is centered on a single plot of land known as the Empty Lot, which results in a power struggle between various groups. There's the Dojima family that Kiryu belongs to, Tachibana Real Estate hired by Shintaro Kazuma to directly oppose Dojima and make sure that he doesn't obtain the plot of land, as well as a couple people within the Omi Alliance, Futoshi Shimano and Masaru Sera. The way everything gets told through several chapters, slowly leaking information on how everything comes together to the player, makes me weak in the knees because good storytelling is my biggest fetish. Kiryu's side is him trying to clear his name of a murder he was framed for, whilst also trying to make sure his foster father Kazuma is able to come back to the Tojo clan after serving time in prison. Majima is stuck running the Grand against his will, but is offered by his boss to be let back into the Yakuza, which he is incredibly desperate to do. All of this is portrayed so well through these two characters. I feel their struggles as I'm going through this game, and really want them to succeed. I honestly haven't felt this immersed in a game in a really long time. I started to get attached to all these characters. Tachibana, Oda, Makimura, Hai, and fighting through all these hordes of enemies and bosses was a complete joy for me. The times where it's just enemy after enemy at the Tojo headquarters with Oda and Tachibana was some of the most fun I've ever had. And going through the boss fights, oh my god, these are so enjoyable. You fight one of the 3 Lieutenants Kuze like 4 fucking times in this game, and I love each of them. But I'd say my favorite one is in the sewers. After fighting through the streets of Kamurocho against an entire horde of enemy Yakuza, Kiryu manages to escape into the sewers, only for Kuze to ride up to you on a motorcycle and whack you right in the face with a lead pipe, full of revenge. The setup here is insanely well done, taking his own route to eliminate Kiryu after the humiliation he suffered the first time. But I'll say that all of Kuze's fights have this kind of great build-up. Fighting through hordes to see Dojima about leaving the clan, the previously mentioned sewer fight, being trapped in the street, and when things are starting to look bleak, here comes bad driver Tachibana to save you in complete fashion, all leading up to his final fight, which is where it's honestly the most impactful. After seeing Tachibana tortured in horrific detail, I wanted to beat the ever-loving shit out of Kuze, and I got exactly that. And this can also be said about the fight against Lee Wen-hai. Majima's looking for his target that Sagawa wants him to kill, and when it looks like he's hit a dead end, here he comes to fight you. You can really feel the clash of Hai's needle and Majima's knife. The way all these fights are built up through this story makes them all the more exciting, and getting to actually go up against all these people feels so satisfying. There are 3 that I have to mention in particular: Hiroki Awano, Lao Gui, and Keiji Shibusawa. Awano and Shibusawa are the other lieutenants of the Dojima family, but haven't really had any boss fights at this point, so getting to actually duke it out with them feels so good. And Lao Gui was the assassin that was hired to set Kiryu up, the one that set everything into motion for this entire game. Punching him several times brings all sorts of satisfaction. And can I say how much the music complements these fights? Holy shit, the impacts it makes when hearing these songs just heightens the excitement to a whole new level. This is straight up one of the best finales to a game I have ever seen. The Shibusawa fight alone has surfaced its way into my personal list of things that are just, they're just so perfect. The drama, the emotion, how satisfying all these punches are, the changing locations, and that final blow. That final fucking blow. It gave me the biggest erection of my entire life. I remember screaming out Shibusawa's name along with Kiryu while landing that last punch. You see all this? It's not blood, it's just nice oozing spurt of satisfaction juice. Going through all this as a journey with Kiryu and Majima was a total joy, and seeing everything come out alright in the end was fantastic. Kiryu goes down his own path, Majima leads a more wild life, where everything heads into Yakuza Kiwami very very seamlessly. No, this game isn't perfect. I really could only be bothered with a small chunk of side stories. I only did one area of Kiryu's real estate empire mode, and I didn't even try with Majima's club missions because I thought it just looked like a mess to handle. Which is a shame, because I probably would have gotten to see more of Kazuya Nakai. All that aside, this really is an amazing game, and if you want to get into the Yakuza series, I highly recommend starting here. It gives you an insight on how these characters are the way they are in future games, and really has a way of making you care about every single character. Even if this is the only game I've actually played, I can certainly tell you this won't be the last. Well, the only thing left I have to say after all this is that Goro Majima is the biggest snack ever, and I will fight anyone who disagrees. Hey guys, I'm really sorry this video took a lot longer to get out than I initially anticipated. Life has just been bad, but hopefully I can get more content out in the future, more regular basis. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this one.